Seth was standing at his
Whoa.
keyboard, ready to slam the enter. Like Seth, you need to maybe go get something else going on in your life, man. I don't know.
No. I like the dedication.
Seth, you're on
you
track.
You beat the T-shirt to the classroom, though.
That's place kicker energy, baby. You don't want it.
Oh man.
Yeah, baby.
That's true. Greg's message had to come all the way from Australia, so it did take quite a bit of time to get here. So
yeah, 54 seconds isn't the performance I'm looking for from Greg regularly.
Wow, damn, Daniel.
Let's get better, Greg.
It was actually 44 seconds if you take a look at it. If you actually learn how to read timestamps.
Oh, mine says 7 minutes and 54 seconds.
Well, don't forget about daylight savings.
Oh, the first one. I see it. I got you. My bad.
Okay, yeah. So before you start telling a man something, learn how to read your numbers.
7 o'clock Central, baby. Let's get it.
What's going on?
VSG 133 in the house.
That's true. What else is going on? That's it. Nothing.
That's it.
Hey,
this is there.
What if you think about, things to call or things to not call? What's a call that people joke about a lot, saying they would never call it?
Aiding the runner. I'll bite.
Aiding the runner.
There's no such thing.
Watch this.
Such thing. Never call
Corey
it.
read the script.
Don't ever call it. Ever. Oh, that's a foul. Can't do that.
Look at 84. So, you know how we like to peruse video in the headquarters. Somehow, some way, came across this play. And you're right. I mean, who calls that? But if you see that, I think you got to call it. So there's your lesson. Session's over.
That's it. That's a unicorn, man. Is it just me, or is the umpire having himself a good chuckle as he's throwing this flag?
So the funny thing about that is, if we would roll to the reporting officials, to the referee, they are actually laughing. They are laughing.
Yeah, that's because it's hilarious.
Oh, I know. It is so. Look at this. Just absolutely hilarious.
That's just a reverse blocking technique. I think I've read about that somewhere. It's called going backwards.
The only thing he didn't do is throw his hips and suplex him. So there's other rare calls in the game.
Oh, timeout. Serious question.
Okay.
How the hell are we supposed to enforce that? Is that 5-yard penalty?
Nobody knows.
That's a great question. That might be always previous spot enforcement, or is it 3-1?
I feel like it's gotta be 3-1.
I'm in the book now.
Gotta be 3-1.
Is it lost it down? Kind of feels like
I seriously doubt it's
I don't
not
think it's lost it
down. There's
down.
no way.
Really?
I don't even know what rule that's in.
5-yard penalty.
That's it. So it's 3-1. So
it's
this would
in Rule 9, believe it or not, Corey. 9-3-2.
Spot. So we'd end up from the spot of the foul here.
Yeah. That's interesting. Okay.
So there's a lot of I would say there's a lot of things in the rule book that are either confusing or that officials say we don't call. Leaping and leverage. I don't know if it falls into the category of where we hear officials say we don't call it, but I do feel like it is confusing.
Oh, I agree.
So let's go to town. We got a lot of plays. Watch. Well, this one will loop better. Watch number 4 here on the defense. And we're going to get some polls up after we just do a quick crash course. All right. So what do you see from number 4? Who would be looking at that to make the decision? And then what conclusion would you arrive at?
Not the back judge.
Not the back judge. You got all kinds of time before that ball's kicked.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I've heard that before. But probably not enough time for leverage and leaping.
All right, so we've got. First of all, okay, how do we decide where the side judge is looking, where the umpire is looking on these? If we pause, hopefully it paused right there at the with the defensive formation. We're going now. The mechanics have flip-flopped a couple times over the past few years, but I believe where we're at now is side judge is looking strong side, correct?
Correct.
So strong side means, usually there are 10 on the defensive line of scrimmage. Sometimes there's not, but usually there's 10 with one guy back. There might be two guys back, whatever. So if there's 6 on one side and 4 on the other, then we know the side judge is going to default to the strong side. Umpire, protect the snapper, and then move out to the weak side. Is that kind of how we're working it?
Yes.
Okay. Can't really tell. I see at least one guy off the line. There might be another. But is this in the area where the side judge would be looking? Or, the side judge is over here, right? So.
That's where I would be looking, just because that's where the biggest threat is on that side. Now, we want to kind of go from the outside shade of that guard out, considering, think with the philosophy being that the umpire is going to have the center and the 2 guards. But when we have so much action right there to our side, that's where I would start on this play, because 7 out, we're hoping that our wings are going to get, our line of scrimmage officials are going to be looking at that. And to be honest with you, when I see 2 or 3 players in the same vicinity, that's where I'm thinking pull and shoot. Not so much leaping and leverage, but because of the pull and shoot aspect, that's probably why I would be there.
Okay.
Corey, are you
perfect.
are you also aware of all leapers, or are you only aware of leapers on your side of the field or your side of the formation?
I'm aware of all leapers. So whenever I declare which side of the formation I'm going to and tell my umpire, at that point, then I'll say, hey, in this case, 16 and 27 are our leapers.
There you go.
What's a leaper?
The leaper's
You haven't
the
even
guy.
snapped the ball yet.
Well, they're in position to leap. They're potential leapers. Let's put it that way.
Oh, okay.
We'll get there. Let the next play come up. Okay, but that's the mechanics. So
wait, we have two of these places? We're doing
at
two?
Least. At
Okay.
least.
Well, then can I say something?
Yeah.
So I infused this whole segment with a huge shot of humor earlier when I said not the back judge. But let me say this. This is often misunderstood. I think you alluded to that as we began. And so I just want to make sure that we're engaged here, because we need to be able to speak to this, whether that's because we're talking to coaches or within our crews. We need some folks on the crew who are really, really good at understanding this from a rules perspective, mechanics perspective, and then how to apply those two things. So let's stay sharp here. I think this is important.
Okay, is that a kind way to say this is somewhat of a?
No, I just think if you're the field judge or the
topic.
back judge, you could be tempted to say, okay, I got the ball going through the pipes, and
Sure.
I think we need to stay engaged here. I want to be able to have a conversation on a crew about this, because it's often it really is often misunderstood, I think, and misinterpreted. So we just need to be able to contribute to that kind of body of knowledge within our crews and organizations.
Got it. Okay. So this is classic leverage to me, but I want to make sure I'm on the right side of the world here. Right hand square in the back of a teammate, propelling him upward. I don't see this as leaping. We'll get to leaping in a second, but I see this as leverage with that right hand pushing forcibly on the back of his teammate, and he gains height off of that. Any problem with that?
Zero problems with that.
Okay.
Nope. That's pretty good.
Okay, let's keep rolling.
Wait, hang on.
Hold
Hold on. I got something.
Oh man. Oh, so close to getting out of there. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
What I find interesting about this is the guy that number 4 elevates off of, his action. It's almost like his responsibility is to drive that left guard downward to create that room for him to go.
Totally.
Through. And I've never seen that before.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be coming more and more. Okay. No, that's good. That's good. Tuta, what'd you have?
No, I was just gonna say this is definitely one until you like it. I watched this video 5 times, and the whole time I'm just thinking, well, that's not leaping, that's not leaping, that's not leaping. And then I realized, wait a minute, this dude pushed off his own teammate. So I think
Right.
this is probably good for us to watch this because I've
Absolutely.
never honestly seen leverage ever in my life, but that's leverage.
There it is. There it is. Okay. We only have 100 plays to look through, so let's just trust the process, Tuta. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to be watching. Obviously, we've got an interesting formation from the defense, and we're going to watch 28. Okay, and 28 is going to. Oh, he jumps. So, sideline view shows it pretty clearly. He's not on the line of scrimmage. He runs up and he jumps. So any heartburn with this as just a classic leaping foul?
None whatsoever from my perspective.
Okay, so mechanically, we know the side judge is on the overload, but you guys as side judges are probably you need to be aware of this player off the line, or are you busy with this just abnormal overload to your right?
with 8 players to one side, I'm going to point out 28 to the umpire, and I don't know if I get over there, to be honest with you. I mean, if I see him come flying in, I got to hope that because I think we are between the umpire and the side judge, I think we're equally responsible for that, especially after the snap, after we know the snapper's clear and all that fun stuff. I just don't know how I would be able to get all the way over to that side.
Got it. So, I mean, umpire, we can see right at the start of the clip, the umpire does a great job. He has time. He clears, the frame of the snapper. So just stay focused on your weak side. And this shouldn't, coverage-wise, this shouldn't really be an issue. And you see that quick flag from the umpire. He was ready for it.
From a mechanics perspective, I think I've noticed that if I have a big overload to one side, like 7 or 8 players, I'll widen out a little bit to kind of give myself a different perspective, and you can kind of get a little more of that, the offside, the umpire side in your periphery. So maybe that's something that, I could grow from. Be like, okay, if you are taking that angle, maybe that can help to identify that.
Yep, and I think this is as close to it gets as the unicorn 3-on-1 by the defense. Guess we could do the next week's session on the 3-on-1 defense scoring kicks. You guys up for that?
Yeah, good luck finding one.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Any other coverage issues or information on this play? So this is classic leaping guy off the line, runs and jumps. I mean, this is just clear-cut leaping. Okay.
So hold on, Robert Frazier's asking about, is this illegal formation? 3-on-1, it wouldn't be an illegal formation if I'm not mistaken. The only defensive formation would be if we cover up the snapper. Am I mistaken
so what's
on
3-on-1?
that? I think that's a personal foul, but I'm not totally sure. I'm gonna be honest because I just
sounds like it. Isn't it? It's a safety issue, right?
Yeah.
So just by deduction, but I mean, that's probably something good to know.
But it's definitely not a formation foul. I don't believe it's a formation foul.
It's really good to know since it's never been called.
Right.
No. I mean, yeah, you clearly can't go 3-on-1.
Oh, 6-3-14. Hold on.
Uh-oh. Maybe it is 5 yards.
That says contact against the snapper. Oh, I'm at 9 still. Shoot. Hold on. God dog.
Come on. Come on, rules guy.
I'm not the rules guy. I love reading the rule book, but I'm not the rules guy. Believe me.
No, you're doing good.
It is illegal for 3 team B players on their line of scrimmage inside the blocking zone to align shoulder to shoulder and move forward together after the snap with primary contact. Live ball foul, 5 yards previous spot.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh, that's the same rule as the snapper rule. So Robert,
what's the point of it?
I think Robert was setting us up. We gotta watch Robert. He's a slick.
Yeah, that was slick.
That was very slick. That is an illegal formation. I'll be damned.
Huh.
Why would that be
So I
illegal
guess
formation?
I guess you're gonna roll your wrists if somebody reports that to you after you look at them kind of weird.
Now I know. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, good. Good. Here we go. We can keep rolling. All right, new play and a poll. Probably. The poll says, why is this not a foul for leaping? We're looking at the circled guy, and we're saying, why is this not a foul for leaping? All right, so you know how we do this. I think we'll eventually get into some polls where we just talk about fouls, but here we're saying, why is this not a foul for leaping? And the options are he jumped through the gap. There was minimal force when he landed, is option B. And option C is both are reasons this is not a foul. Or wait, D says, hold on, everybody, this is a foul. Did you figure out the signal for that 3-on-1 yet?
Yeah, it's formation. It's signal 19. It is rolling wrists.
So the same thing applies. If you don't have any idea, just roll your wrists.
If I have no idea, I just won't make a signal at all. I'll just announce the foul.
I know, right? That's
Yeah,
the best.
that's the easiest thing to
is.
do.
Yeah. Oh man. All right, so let's work this poll. Dang, people are into leaping and leverage, man. You underestimated the intrigue here.
No, I didn't estimate the intrigue at all. Who are you talking to?
I don't know. I'm just talking, dude.
Yeah, I mean, that's typical. The intrigue is sky high, just like we expected.
Okay. All right, we're moving along, and we are going to. I think we're good. So check out the poll. 56% say, get out of here with all that. This is leaping. But 41% say it's not because he jumped through a gap. And then 4% actually took the bait on both our reasons it's not a foul. So in other words, they also talked about the force and jumping through the gap. Okay, so now let's apply a little judgment. I know we didn't completely outline the rule, but now we're making calls and we're talking about our process reasons why. So when we talk leaping, in the leaping category here, where do we start in terms of the player's location? He's got to be what?
Is he
Off
at least
the-
a yard off the line of
A
scrimmage?
yard away from the line of scrimmage.
Got to be a yard off the line.
Tricky way to say it.
Practically, the way that's judged, and just make sure that I don't talk wrong, but practically, he's on the line if he is lined up within the feet of a teammate. Does that make sense?
Unless the teammate is Manute Bol and he's stretching that right leg way back.
Yeah. Come on. So
because they like to, people like to cheat and do that to say, "Oh, no, I'm still within the teammate." Let's just make sure we understand that.
Great point. Okay. So is it safe to say you cannot commit a foul for leaping if you're on the line?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Very safe to say.
That's why we map the players before the snap. So if a player is lined up outside the feet of his teammates, as this player clearly is, then he is prohibited from leaping up, over, and over to block a kick. Now, I want to talk about judgment because we hear a lot about, he got through a gap or, he really didn't land with a lot of force on people. So how is that actually judged?
Say that again.
Or does it matter? It's kind of a trick question. We hear a lot about, he leaped through a gap. or he jumped, but he didn't really land with a whole lot of force on people. So I want to talk about how are those aspects actually judged, and or does any of that even matter?
Well, I mean, if he can jump through a gap, that's preferred. I mean, I think I don't have my rule book in front of me, but I think it talks about the plane of the body, plane of the player. So, and I think it's defined as shoulder to shoulder. Is that correct? So if we can get through a gap, we're okay. I think they've taken the language out about landing on an opponent, landing on a teammate, all that kind of stuff. But it's a matter of, are they, is there contact to their opponent? If they're jumping up over the frame of the of their opponent, and then they make contact, but they don't specifically. They've taken out the landing on language.
So really, you don't have to make contact anymore, do you?
Yeah, but I don't know if that's the spirit of the rule that we're looking for.
Right. I don't think by rule you have to for it to be a foul.
If you run, this was happening like a decade ago, and I don't remember the guy's name, but he would line up way back there. He would time it perfectly, jump over the long snapper, block the kick, and that was legal because he didn't make contact, I believe. And then the rule changed. And so that's why I want to do this, because everybody's so confused and this comes up all the time. Does it matter if you make contact or not in terms of this action rising to the level of a foul for leaping?
You do not have to have contact. If you just leap over him, if you go over the frame, that I believe technically we're going to have a foul for leaping at that point.
Okay. But that's so the only players restricted from that is if they're off the line, right?
Correct.
Perfect. Okay. So more than 1 yard back, which practically is judged by, you're not within the feet of your teammate. Okay. So what about, this through the gap business? Are there any gaps to jump through on kicking team formations? Look at how tight those players are. Is that even a consideration for this? Or if you jump up and over and you're off the line, is it automatic, or is there judgment involved?
There is judgment. I mean, I think if you go through or over a gap, I think you're okay. And unfortunately, I think for us back there, that officiate this type of play, I think that's the easy bait for us to say, oh, he went through a gap or he went over a gap. And why this probably goes uncalled more oftentimes than it should. When you look at these plays, you're like, man, these are all leaping fouls, or potential leaping fouls. Why are we going away from that? And I think for me, I've fallen victim to say, oh, he was in a gap or he went through the gap. But it doesn't matter. If they can get through a gap, then they're fine. If they can get over a gap, they're fine.
Okay, so we're really judging the frame of the body. I would just caution everybody to say and do exactly, avoid what you're doing. Look, these kicking team formations, these are tight splits. If you go up and over these players, the odds of you being completely out of the frame of a blocker are pretty low.
Correct.
In my opinion. Okay, so when you watch this play, what's your judgment then? Are you putting weight in this gap business? Are you putting any weight in, I think we already discredited the force of when he landed. Or is this just simply a foul?
I mean, I like this for a leaping foul. I mean, just because he's running through and he ends up getting on the back of, I guess it's the right guard. Now, is someone going to say, well, his teammate pushed him into that? I mean, he put himself there, and he's trying to go, and he ends up going over the frame of a player. That's not the gap. That's not yeah.
I don't know what number that is. 79.
And furthermore, Corey, he don't belong doing that. To me, this you start getting to a point where you can't have much flexibility with some of these players when they're clearly doing something they're not supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah, you're putting yourself in a bad situation.
Right. If he makes it, he made a tremendously great play. 9 times out of 10, he ain't making a tremendously great play. So to me, I don't see why we would even, cut corners with this. This is just a foul.
Perfect. All right.
I'm with it.
Map the leapers. If they jump up and over, I mean, it's got to be so obvious they're in a gap that he was in a gap. But if we're wondering if he's in a gap, he's not in a gap. I'm just telling you. Look at these splits. There's literally almost no way they're in a gap. And I agree with Corey. It's a great way for us to talk ourselves out of a foul.
Yeah. I don't even know if you can say splits. They're dang near interlocked.
Right.
Yeah.
Butt cheek to butt cheek.
The only gap you really can see is over there on the right hand side, and I don't know all my letters, so that might be a Z gap for all I know. Between 80 whatever that is and 73.
Hey, don't worry about it. Letters are hard.
I know they are.
Okay. All right, here we go. Next play. Let's keep this show rolling. Let's keep this party going. We circle him. Here's the pull, probably. There it is. Why is this not a foul for leverage? All right. Is it because he started on the line of scrimmage? Is it because he pushed on an opponent? Are both of those reasons it's not a foul for leverage? Or, like last one, are you going to say, wait a second, this is a foul for leverage? Tutai, you following along here tonight, buddy?
I'm trying to. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
I wasn't the smartest dude in the world, and I'm getting lost a little bit, but I'm hanging in there.
All right. Well, the later polls we talk about just is it a foul or not. These polls we had to get the neurons firing a little bit, including yours, because your performance. I'm not too sure about your performance so far tonight.
I'm trending upward, though. That's the good news.
That's right. I can feel a shift in the wind.
All right. So, I mean, this is intriguing stuff, man. This is really good. Well, I'll tell you what.
Whoa, here we go.
Wait for maybe you don't think it's intriguing. It's really not, but wait how intriguing it is when one of these types of issues, is inherent in helping decide a football game.
This pisses coaches off too, by the way. This pisses coaches off. And it doesn't even have to be relevant. Like literally nothing can happen and they get fired up about it.
Yeah. And
we've got to be able to respond, I mean, halfway intellectually, whether we threw a flag or not, but we got to be able to speak to it. I feel like we have these a lot where it's like, coach is pissed. He thinks they're leaping, and everybody's like, well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he was.
Maybe.
What? No. We got to be able to say something.
It's a great point.
Well, Dan, I think we were still together at this point. We had a coach. It was basically just simple try plays, and the coach was so mad because he said the linemen were blocking low, and he wanted. It was just simple. They were just kicking a simple extra point.
Yep.
And he went ballistic.
They're doing this.
Yeah. And I had to go talk to the coach. So your point is very valid. I had to go explain to him why it was not a foul and the offense were not really blocking low. They were just basically just shifting downward and staying low. They weren't moving forward. They weren't, and that was one thing that he was really angry about. So, I mean, it's true. We're going to have these conversations at some point about something relative to the kick game that's relatively innocuous. And we just have to be prepared to have that conversation.
Exactly. So here we go. 32% said this is a foul for leverage. 32% said both of the stated reasons are reasons it's not a foul for leverage. 28% said it's a foul for leverage because why is this not a foul? It's not a foul for leverage because he pushed an opponent. And 8% said it's not a foul for leverage because he started on the line. All right, untangle that web there, Mr. Strong Side.
Well, okay. So first of all, this goes to, where is he starting? And I have him as being on the line of scrimmage, or within the neutral zone, on the line of scrimmage. So he's got a different set of rules as number 41, number 2, and number 6 do. When you're starting on that line of scrimmage, you can get away with quite a bit, to be quite honest with you, as long as you are not pushing on a teammate like we saw in that first clip. As long as you're not getting a foot or a knee on the back of an opponent, you're good. So to me, this is okay because he's on the line of scrimmage and he pushed on an opponent without landing, without using his knee or his foot to get over the back of him. So I would have it in play.
Perfect. And so with regards to leverage, where he starts, it's different from leaping, right? Like you said, there's more restrictions, but when we're evaluating leverage, it doesn't matter where he started.
Correct.
It's not as if those on the line of scrimmage can perform leverage. And maybe we need to define what leverage even is.
Yes.
That might be a good start. So I don't know if there's somebody flipping through a rule book constantly, which is kind of helpful. What is the foul for leverage?
Well, so relative,
because this is leverage. I mean, he's leveraging himself,
right?
But is it really illegal?
Yeah. So what's most important about leverage is that the rule to make it a foul is about what we do to our teammates, which is pretty interesting and can be a little bit confusing. Yeah. So for it to be a foul, we have to step, jump, or stand on a teammate or use our hands to propel ourselves up on a teammate or get picked up by a teammate.
Perfect.
Or you also cannot position yourself with your feet on the back of a teammate before the snap.
That would be interesting, huh?
That'd be quite a thing.
Hey,
I'm not sure why that's still in the rule book.
We watched an aiding the runner play, first play of the session.
Exactly. This is
ready.
This is obscure stuff. We got to uncover the
Sports Quarterly.
Stuff. So, okay, the fact that he started on the line of scrimmage doesn't have anything to do with leverage. We just learned that. So he pushed on an opponent. That's really the reason this is not a foul for leverage. I mean, he leveraged himself, but he leveraged off an opponent with his hands.
That's right.
And therefore, by rule, this is legal.
It's legal.
Crazy. All right. So even though he definitely gained leverage here, he didn't do so illegally. Everybody good?
Yes,
what I'm not good with is that Florida State has those H goalposts, and they stole them from the Louisiana State University Fighting Tigers home stadium of Death Valley. Generally, we're the only ones that are allowed to have H goalposts.
They had a game at the start of this year over the right to claim those goalposts. I think that.
Sorry, Daniel. Nobody wanted to hear what you were talking about.
Oh, you just muted.
I did.
That was cold-blooded.
That's a violation of our bylaws. Anyway,
all right.
Florida State won, so they get to keep the H goalpost.
So perfect. So unlike the first play we saw in the category of leverage, where that player pushed off his teammate, this player is pushing off an opponent. He doesn't use feet. He doesn't use knees. He doesn't do any of that stuff. So this oddly is legal. Okay. All right. What about this one? We are watching B15. And then let's forget it. Let's get rid of all the confusing polls. Let's just go into it. The poll says, is this a foul for leaping? Is this a foul for leverage? Is it a foul for both? Or is it not a foul for either? Get rid of all that confusing stuff. I made you think, Tuta. I made you think, man. I think you're primed and ready to go now.
I had a long week at work, so I prefer not to think anymore right now, to be honest.
You say you've had a long week at work and it's Tuesday?
Yeah, you
yes. Yeah, I did.
Well, you got a big project or something? I mean, we all very interested in the civil engineering work that you're doing there.
I'm a project manager, so I'm really not a civil engineer. Unfortunately, I'm an Outlook engineer. I just sit there and just send emails and go to meetings, and I'm an Outlook and a WebEx engineer.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you were like forecasting or, modeling outwardly.
No.
In the future.
No. Outlook being the I'm an email wizard.
You know how to draft and compose and do you like schedule send? Do you do that just to make it seem like you're working when you're not? Are you one of those?
No, I'm not a person who fakes anything. You ought to know that by now about me. Either I'm working or I'm not.
Oh man, I would love to go deep into that one right there, but we'll just let that one go for now. So we are talking about leaping, we're talking about leverage potentially, we're talking about both, or we're talking about neither.
Oh, excuse me.
All right, here we go. What do you see? 40.
Daniel, I had the same thought about this session here.
That was an accident.
Wow. This is good stuff. What do you think? 45% said no foul for either. 27% said foul for leaping, and 27% said foul for leverage. So,
Oh, come on.
Even though you're talking trash, we've got an opportunity because 54% have a foul and 45% not. What do you got?
First of all, we need to figure out where this dude started out. And once we do that, we can see we do not have leaping. We can't have leaping. He's on the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
So that's the first thing we got to do is map our players out. And once we see he's on the line of scrimmage, doesn't matter what he does. We may have a foul, but the foul we're not going to have is leaping.
Okay. Agree. If he's off the line of scrimmage, is this considered in the gap?
Daniel, your voice is very aggressive right now. I'm not sure if you turned your volume up intentionally or if you got closer to the microphone.
Neither.
You're scaring the membership. I'm just telling
I apologize. I just had a sip of ice water. It woke me up a little bit. I'm ready to go.
I'm excited about leaping and leverage.
I'm fired up, baby.
Can you repeat your question, Daniel? I'm sorry. I was so interested in slamming.
I threw you off so much you didn't even hear my words. So if he's more than a yard off the line of scrimmage, is this considered over the frame of the other guy, do you think, or is this in the gap? I know we already said it basically can't be in the gap, but I mean, he's kind of right between these guys.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Now, I would have that in the gap if he started off more than a yard off. But here's the deal. Just because from an instantaneous perspective, the way he jumped right here, he was in the gap. But if they see him jumping, I guarantee those players will both close that gap up, and that gap ain't going to exist no more. Yeah.
Right. So that's a good question then. If the linemen move and create this environment where he's now over the frame of them, is that still on him?
For me, it is. I don't know. Ask Corey, but that's all on him to me.
Okay. On the defender?
Yeah.
100%. Okay. He put himself there.
Cool. So no leaping.
No leaping.
No leaping.
All right. So we said before pushing on teammates versus pushing on opponents, but is there any difference here?
Yes, he gets his knees on the player.
Yeah, so if he uses his knees, now, I mean, this is subtle to me. Is he using his knees to, propel himself upward or forward or whatever? Or is it just, kind of a result of getting in the air and getting blocked? Or does it matter?
No, I think it definitely matters. I mean, if he's trying that, he better not get his knees on the back of an opponent. And that's the first that's the first sentence in the leaping and leverage category. It says you cannot stand, step, or something else on an opponent. And to me, this qualifies for those three types of scenarios.
Yeah.
Okay.
Step, jump, or stand.
Step, jump, or stand. Stand, that's the other one.
So there it is. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, honestly, the rule's not that complicated, but it's just hard, I guess, to.
Well, it is. It's super complicated because that's the first sentence, and then it talks all about leaping, and we've already established why it's not a foul for leaping, and then we get to leverage, and all it talks about is things you can do to your teammate or you can't do with your own teammate.
Right.
So it's confusing.
Okay. Okay, what about this one?
I don't have anything else to do.
All right, who are we looking at here? Out here on the edge. Okay,
The
so
graphics department just was really hard at work this week. I see. Just amazing work by the graphics department.
Oh, it really is. It really is. If you don't know who you're looking at, just circle 2 players. It looks like from the sideline. It's the second guy in. That circle is kind of struggling to hit bullseye there. Okay, so we've already talked about these things. This is easy now. He's on the line. He leaps, but it's not a foul for leaping, correct? He's on the line.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Now, leverage-wise, he didn't even touch his teammate, right?
Nope.
So, did he gain height off of stepping or kneeling or whatever the other word is off of a opponent? Nope.
No, I don't think so.
So this is just nothing. This is nothing. And it's it's not a big deal, but this was actually called in the game as something, and I don't even know what, and I don't really care. But it would just lets know why we're making these decisions, whether we call stuff or don't call stuff. So he's on the line, can't be leaping. Okay. Did he push on his teammate? No. Did he stand, step, or kneel on an opponent? No.
No.
This is just nothing. This is just a player just moving. All right.
Right.
How about this one? Okay, we're watching this player in the back.
Okay, these are easy, right? Because we can map the player.
Helpful.
Map the player. Now, this is interesting here. Side judge is way on the other side. So let's talk mechanics after we get through the process of the call. Is he off the line? Of course.
Yes.
Does he jump up and over?
Yes.
Yes. Come on. Again, this is what Corey was talking about. You could talk ourselves into thinking, gosh, did he get kind of in the gap there? Try to split the gap? Come on, right? No. He's jumping up and over. Why is he doing that? I'm not sure. Is there a little bit of a gap there? Yes. Is he completely outside of the frame of the offensive player, of the opponent? I don't think so. I think it'd be almost impossible to be completely outside the frame. So he's catching the frame. He jumps up and over from off the line. To me, this is just a simple leaping call. Agree?
This one is easy, in my opinion. Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tom. It's pretty easy.
Easy on video. What about mechanics? So you're over here, Corey, to the right. I think that looks appropriate. And
I would
then-
not. I would be to the left.
Oh, is that the overload side?
That would be my overload side. Yes. I mean, you've got
See?
3 down and two stand-ups to the right, so I'm going over to the left.
Perfect. So, yeah, I mean, it's just perfect. So again, mechanics will lead us to the right answer. So side judge really should be on the other side. And now you've got this all the way. But if you are caught over here to this side, again, you touched on it earlier, but touched on it again. Should the umpire be aware of this? Are you going to be aware of all the people off the line, regardless of side? How do we want to talk about that?
So for me, it's, if it's completely even, so say we have 5 on one side, 5 down on the right, 5 down on the left, and then you have one stand up in the middle. Then to that point, I'm going to go to wide side if there is one, and if not, I'll defer to the right side, just because then I know that I'm opposite my referee typically. Well, always, because it doesn't matter. I'm foot of
Yeah,
the
and then
anymore.
Chutai, did you ever do this scoring kick plays? Just look for the side judge. Pressure normally is going to come from the heavy side anyways. So just look to see whatever side the side judge declared as the strong side, and you can pretty much look to that side. Or do you not do it that way?
I'm trying to remember what I do. I think, and umpires, please cover your ears. I think I don't trust umpires to work leaping. So I probably, if there's a potential leaper on the umpire side, I will probably focus on that side, to be perfectly honest. Because you can see this umpire here has a death stare on the snapper 9 hours after the kick is gone. So I don't know what he's doing, but he's clearly not aware that this dude is leaping right next to him. So generally, that's what I would do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Another thing is the side judge, if you're in
After
there,
you clear any threat to the kicker, obviously.
as a side judge, another thing that you can do, and I've caught myself doing this, is you can hear what the call is from the defense. They'll tell you if they're going left or right. They'll say block left, block right. So if you can pick that up, then take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I
interesting.
think the main thing, Corey, though, is you mentioned it, as a side judge, just know where all the leapers are and call the numbers out. I know a certain referee named Brandon Cruz who used to get so mad at me because I would literally yell out the numbers of the leapers. And I don't care if they leap or not, but they know that somebody's watching them. And just have awareness of them. To me, on this one is so obvious. I halfway think as a side judge, even way as far away as we are on this play, I think I may have a chance of catching this one because this one is just so obvious.
All right. There it is, leaping and leverage. Any other thoughts come to mind in these topics? Or did we get them all? Did we get all the concepts?
I think this was good because it showed all of the different ways that action could or could not be leaping and or leverage. So it really helps us to really think about that on these just simple, basic nothing plays. That just an extra point. I mean, golly.
Right.
Well, and I like the theme was, we've got to know whether we called it or we've got to know why we called it. If we don't call it, we got to be able to speak to why it's not a foul. Just got to be able to see these things clearly and then make a decision that we can defend. I guess like everything else.
All right. Okay, here we go. We're not done though. Okay, now we'll watch this player. This is a fake. This is a fake field goal. So obviously, the rule is in place. I believe both of these rules are in place part way for player safety, or quite a bit for player safety, but also, just you don't want to create an unfair advantage with the ability to block kicks. If they're going to block a kick, you want it to be fair. So there's no kick here. Just on that topic alone, regardless of what you think this is or isn't, if there's no kick, can we have either one of these fouls?
No, you cannot.
I think. Well, hold on, Corey. I'm thinking A. If you look at A, so under leverage and leaping, it just says no defensive player in an attempt to gain an advantage may step, jump, or stand on an opponent.
Yeah.
So the way I'm thinking, let's say I get an advantage by getting elevation to block a pass, like a pass that's coming across the middle, and I lift up off of my teammate. I've never seen that again, but I'm wondering if that's why
Or an opponent. It'd have to be an opponent, right?
9-3-11A is there for leverage, and then B, C, and D are talking about blocking kicks. And I think that's where that confusion comes in, Daniel, that you were talking about.
Yeah.
A doesn't say anything about a kick. B, C, and D talk about a kick.
And is A talking about when you step, kneel, or stand on an opponent?
Yes. No defensive player in an attempt to gain an advantage may step, jump, or stand on an opponent.
Right.
Okay.
Brandon, the play is not playing, by the way. Should I try to start it?
Oh yeah.
It's playing
on my end.
Playing on mine.
Really? I have a black screen.
Wow.
What in the world?
It's I don't know. That's bizarre. So anyways, what we're looking at is this player, I don't know what he is, like a kind of a defensive end or something like that. He's not really a defensive end, whatever. He definitely gains height, and it looks like would you say he steps on that guy? He's 30 in from the left.
Yes, his left foot gets on the back of him.
He does. And so when this turns into a fake, I mean, are we just going to go by that, clause A of the rule and say, look, this is, we stepped on him, boom, we're going to go with the rule. Do we need to apply any, I don't know, interpretation to that? Or is it just easier to go by the rule here? Obviously these are rare plays. These aren't going to happen every game. But when they do happen, we kind of want to have a little bit in our library to go off of. So what would you advocate if the rule is the rule and this is what we see, but then it turns into, he really doesn't gain any advantage here, in my opinion. But I mean, it'd be different if you block down the pass. But do you feel like we just make this call, or maybe let this go? Like, let's say the pass falls incomplete, and now we've got what would appear to be leverage, but maybe no advantage. So do we pass? I don't know.
Well, it's weird because it says to gain an advantage,
right?
But it's also, in Rule 9 under personal fouls, so it's probably there for player safety. So that's not helpful. Those two comments aren't helpful at all, except for maybe to create more uncertainty. I don't know. Look, not something I officiate regularly. I would think if we're going to call it on a non-kick, we would want it to be because he used it to do something productive for his team, which would be the advantage piece. But I don't know. I could be wrong.
Interesting. Because I wonder if the rules makers are saying gain an advantage, just like gain a height advantage. Maybe not necessarily gain a football competitive advantage, but gain some type of physical advantage. I don't know. I think that's why this is a little bit confusing.
I wonder if you saw this on a regular pass play, Brandon.
Yeah.
And, you see the same type of action, and it's a 3rd and 8 play, shotgun, and here comes a defensive end and does the same thing. Would this register with you for leverage at that point?
No.
I don't know if you'd ever see that, but you could.
Oh, you absolutely could, right? Maybe one of those empty backfield sets. Quarterback gets the ball out fast. A blitzing linebacker or somebody like that jumps up and puts his foot on an opponent to gain a physical advantage. Would that really gain? I mean, if he's sitting on his knees on the back of a lineman and blocks the pass down, maybe it would register. But just something like this, if this was a normal pass play and it's not a scoring attempt where leverage is more in the forefront of our minds, yeah, I don't think that would register on a normal pass play.
I mean, I kind of like Daniel's, his thinking, his line of thinking here that, if it doesn't do anything, if it doesn't give him an advantage other than the physical one, I kind of like staying off of it too. But, then we have to decide, is this just a pure safety thing that we call regardless?
Right.
Yeah.
One thing's for sure, whether we decide to throw the flag or not, we need to go and talk to this player after. If we decide, okay, I'm not going to throw the flag, we have to go talk to this player after the play.
Yeah. No, and I'm going to be honest, I like Daniel's interpretation far better than mine. But are we all understanding what gain and advantage means within the context of your interpretation? Hopefully, but I guess that's kind of what we do in a lot of other fouls too, right? Holding and pass interference and those kinds of things. So, okay, so you're kind of thinking no foul here, correct? Based on that?
I'm kind of thinking that, but I could easily be swayed by the idea that it's a personal foul.
I think I'm the complete opposite. I kind of think this is a foul, but could be swayed to say that it's not.
Okay. Well, I think it's good. I mean, it's a rare play. We're talking about unicorns here, so not something we really normally do. But it's a little departure from the norm, but that's fine.
I think,
Certainly an interesting play.
Like the comment Corey, I think it was Corey a few minutes ago about like the defensive end or whatever. I mean, yeah, I've never seen that, but defense getting to the quarterback is an exercise in creativity oftentimes. So like, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you get a stunt and one player kind of gets the blocker in a weird, position, and then the other player who's stunting perhaps steps on the back of that blocker and propels himself up. That really is leverage.
Yeah.
It's never been called.
Ever.
Okay, here we go. Let's go to the different type. Let's go to the punt game. And this is, Daniel, what is it? A two-play what? When you put two plays together, it's a two-play.
It's a vignette, Brandon.
It's a vignette.
Well, yeah, sure.
I guess. So we're going to watch action at the shield. There's going to be two plays. One play is also going to highlight a block in the back, but we'll talk about that later. Just hold on. We're all, on that block in the back on this Ohio State play. Just hold on. So, but we're talking about action at the shield. And so we're going to select, is the Georgia Tech action leaping the shield? Is the Ohio State action leaping the shield? Are both or are neither? Chuja, how many leaping the shield fouls you got in your glorious career at that referee position?
0.
Yeah.
Oh, we had one this year that cost the team the game.
I saw that. But unlike your crew, Daniel, our crew, we did a great job of preventive officiating. So we told them if you leap, cut your leg off.
Oh, man. Well played. Oh, my God.
And how did we self-evaluate on our call there that you said cost the team the game there, DY?
Yeah, we loved it. It was fantastic.
Oh.
And I'm saying that, and it wasn't even my call.
That was a tremendous call. It really was. Great awareness.
Yeah. And gutsy.
Okay. I had in my career, just for your information, I had -1 leaping calls.
Oh, I remember
Meaning-
that.
No, you don't, because it wasn't with you. I made one call that unfortunately shouldn't have necessarily been made.
I remember it, buddy. I
Although
didn't have to be there.
I don't agree.
Oh, here we go.
I think it was a foul. But that's why I call it -1. All right. So I think we have some contrarians here tonight. So we're good. Or maybe we just lost everybody. This is just intriguing content, though.
You've said intriguing 97 times tonight. I don't know if you're like
Well, I thought,
a drinking game going on over there or what.
yeah, for sure. The stars aligned, I felt, when I had a couple people reach out about leverage and leaping in the same week. So, there's only...
I think you're making that up also, though. I think
Definitely
you wanted
not.
to do this, and so you created
Why would
this
I
whole
wanna do
narrative
this?
that people are asking about it.
Why would I want to do this?
Well, why wouldn't you? This is good stuff. Like,
Okay.
we've got to officiate leverage and leaping, don't we?
We do.
Okay.
We definitely do.
Well, there you go.
All right, where are we at? Here? We are waiting for the board people to vote. Now we're good. All right, what do we see? We have 68% say the Ohio State play is leaping the shield. And we have 32% say both plays are leaping. So 100% say that the Ohio State play is leaping. Any issues with that? Ohio State play.
Oh no,
That
that's got. I mean, if leaping exists, that's got to be it, right?
Yeah, so I believe that.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, first of all, this was put in for the safety of the leaper for sure.
correct, absolutely.
And we can see why. That's just classic. Up and over, puts his neck at risk. I believe.
Yeah, I'm really glad that he hopped right back up and played football.
And I don't know how this rule is exactly worded. It might be worth it for us to peer into that, but I don't think we need the rule language to make a judgment on the Ohio State play. It's just a foul. I mean, that's just a foul.
Yeah,
I feel like the Georgia Tech play is more interesting. So is it a requirement for the player to get over the blocker? Do they just have to kind of jump and kind of get somewhat over them? What are we doing with this Georgia Tech play?
ask the referee. Is he still here?
No.
Yeah, he's still here. He's
Oh,
listening
hey,
and
buddy.
learning, man.
Hey,
Hey,
buddy.
how are you?
Well, somebody else would like to learn, so teach us something.
It does not matter if he gets over the player. He cannot leave his feet in an attempt to block the kick, period, and go across the frame of the player. So that dude did it. I don't care that he got hit low by the other shield player and all this other crap. Let's instead of trying to figure out ways not to throw the flag, it's a foul. Let's come on.
Brandon
Really?
wishes he could have figured out ways to not throw the flag on this one.
I know.
Wow. Well, that's
You-
interesting. So you're opening it up to a broader interpretation, I guess.
No, it's not. He jumped. He left his feet. Look guess what the rule says.
Okay.
If he's
No,
inside
so
the tackle box and tries to block a punt or an apparent punt by leaving his feet and leaping into the plane directly above the frame of the body of an opponent. I mean, did he leave his feet? Absolutely. Did he go above the frame of a body of an opponent? Absolutely. Boom. We're done.
So
Wow,
is there
okay.
separate language anywhere for this leaping the shield, or is that it?
It's in C. It's under leverage and leaping. Letter
Okay,
number
wait.
C.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I'm good. I saw it. I didn't know if there was a specific part under scrimmage kicks about leaping the shield.
Mm-mm. Well, maybe there is something in scrimmage kicks, but I know that's where I'm referencing.
Okay.
We can try to get cute and start pulling out our parabolas and all this other
Protractors.
fancy stuff. Protractors, abacus. We can pull out all this kind of stuff and try to figure things out to justify why it's not a foul. But if the dude jumped and he got over the frame of an opponent in the shield, it's a foul. Period. For me.
Huh. Well, there you go. So I would encourage special teams players not to jump near or around the shield then.
I mean, that sounds like a little bit of a different perspective than we have traditionally had with leaping the shield, don't you think? Where we've traditionally, I think, been pretty conservative with it and really wanted it to fit into a very specific parameters. It sounds like maybe you're advocating not getting, Wild West with it and just letting it rip. But if it meets that you're off your feet, you are directly above the frame of an opponent, we don't need to get overly technical with not calling it.
Yes, that's the way that I like to evaluate that particular action. Yes.
Okay.
Because it's just like one of those things like we were talking about earlier. I don't have much sympathy for a player who's doing something that he's clearly prohibited from doing, and they're clearly prohibited from jumping over the shield. So okay, you didn't make it all the way over. Great for you. Maybe you need to go work on your vertical leap ability a little bit, maybe in the off season. But that's a prohibited act. So I'm sorry, it's a foul.
Boom. Mr. Strict leaping the shield man. I didn't that's good. That's learning for me for
I've
sure.
thrown exactly 0 of those in my career though.
Put your money where your mouth is when it happens, huh?
Yeah. Because it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen very frequently because people know they're not supposed to do it, so they don't even try. In general.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a classic case of being legislated out of the game with very few exceptions.
Exactly.
All right, so on this play, we've got this leaping the shield, which we all agree was obvious, 100%. It's foul, leaping the shield. And then there's a highlighted player who commits some type of block, and I believe you could have an argument for block in the back or even perhaps illegal blindside block. I don't know if you want to talk about that first or just be good with it being a foul. Maybe you don't agree it's a foul. I don't know. What do you think about the difference between blindside block versus illegal block in the back right there?
Yeah, I think we need to talk about that because we don't want to be lazy with that process. We want to know what we're officiating and have a ruling. Because we can sacrifice credibility here if we're not, I mean, look, there's going to be some that are going to be both, but we don't want to officiate that way. We want to call what we're officiating, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because you could talk about, well, if he hits him in the back, just call it a block in the back because that's the, I guess, path of least resistance.
Right. Yeah. I think we need to start at the more severe foul, and then we can kind of work our way backwards from there. So when we're talking about,
maybe people don't know if he hits him in the back with force, just call it a block.
So I think what you're saying, Brandon, is the opposite would be, well, he just hits him in the back with force, make it a blindside.
Blindside block.
Right. And so the issue with that is it's not just force in general, right? There's a level of force that we need to reach for it to rise to the level of a foul for blindside block. So we just need to be able to evaluate the action in isolation and then make it fit in whatever box it fits in. We don't have to We don't want to just get to this point where we have a lazy process and we just attach something to it because it looks like a foul. So the first thing I think we need to ask ourselves is, did the person being blocked, the blockee, have a reasonable opportunity to defend himself from the block, right? So now we're getting into the nature of, was it blindside or not? If we're evaluating it as a potential block in the back, most of the time we're going to get to the place where we say, well, he probably didn't have an opportunity to protect himself or defend himself from it if it's close enough to being in the back. And I think that applies in this case. The defender doesn't see the blocker coming. So it's certainly blindside in nature. So then the next thing we need to answer is it forcible enough to rise to the level of a blindside block? So, there's always the subjectivity there. And then some of you are going to ask yourselves, is it attacking in nature? So we just need to go through that process and work through those filters. And then look, we may get to the point where we say, you know what? He kind of gets up to him and just shoves his body into him. There's no real explosion. There's not enough force. So it's really not a blindside block. Well, okay. So then is it in the back? Because we know if he's in chase mode, doesn't have to have all of the force in the back, but do we have some force in the back? And we may, and just theoretically, right, we may get to the point where we say, well, it's not in the back either. So we went through this whole process and ended up with it not being a foul. Well, that's great. That's fine. We applied our process. I don't know that that's where we're going to end up here. But if we do, that's great.
Do you think it's a chase mode?
I do. I think, so this is always a little bit tricky. I think we end up in chase mode here just before contact. I don't think it's traditional chase mode like we see with 54 right now in the middle. I lost it. Darn it. Sorry. I was going to describe it a little bit just before contact. Let's see if it comes back. Here we go. I don't know. It's really close. It's really close. I don't know. I don't know. I'd probably say it's not chase mode, I think. What do you think?
Well, I kind of think it is.
Yeah, that was my instinct, because one of the things, Brandon, talk about this is that like we can end up in chase mode really like almost not instantaneously, but really, really soon just before contact.
Yeah.
Right.
Isn't that chase position concept that you tried to pioneer, Brandon, versus chase mode?
Yeah.
Yeah, that never.
I actually like that. I was on Team Brandon with that one.
No, I know.
It's tough for me to say that, but I was
so
on board.
spectacularly, we just don't bring it up.
Oh, okay.
It didn't flop.
Oh,
it didn't flop.
You're right.
There's nothing about him that's taking on this block, and I don't see him like turning away to create any contact in the back.
No, certainly not.
Certainly not. And blockers beat, in my opinion.
So here's where we have to decide, right? If he's coming perpendicular and ends up on the same yard line, we never experience chase mode. If he's coming from an angle and then before contact, he ends up in a yard line, I don't know how you want to say this, I guess behind the blockee, then we have the potential to end up in chase mode just before the contact.
Yeah.
I think this rises to the level of a block in the back, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think he gets there just a hair late, and it ends up. And I don't even know if there's any force that's not in the back.
And then, are you comfortable saying perhaps not forcible enough for illegal blindside block?
Yeah, for me personally, when I watch this from that end zone view, it's a little bit deceiving. And we've had a lot of conversations about this. And by we, I just mean, in different circles. The defender in this case, who's actually on the punting team, he ends up almost in a train wreck, right? He ends up kind of going over, like like barrel rolling, and then he hits his own teammate, and it looks like a train wreck. But when you evaluate the contact that the blocker has with him, he really just kind of bodies him up and uses his body to shove him over, in my opinion. That's what I see. I don't know if you guys see something different.
I like that too, Daniel. I don't see like the dude who delivered the block. He doesn't explode into the opponent. He doesn't he's not truly attacking the opponent. He's more shielding him than anything. But he just kind of leaned into him, and they just bodies just mushed together, and then the other dude fell. I mean, I don't see anything that will rise to the level of an illegal blindside block for me.
Okay, so we have 2 flags, right?
Uh-oh, Brandon's about to get excited.
And we got to report. We got to report this now, referee. This could be one of our flags. So let's.
I know what the result of the play is.
Result of the play. Yeah, great. Thanks. That's helpful. So I guess we got to go through this. We said during the return, illegal block in the back by the receiving team. We've got leaping the shield by the receiving team. Mm-hmm. So are we going to – obviously, we can only accept one because they're both live ball fouls, correct?
Yep. This one's easy, Brandon.
Potential PSK. No, you don't want to go through all these tricks? Okay. Why is it easy?
Because the leaping the shield is a previous spot enforcement. So we can just cut all this other stuff out and just move on. Team A is gonna have a first down in this play.
Yeah. Just be done with it.
Yeah. Let's not even get together and start trying to figure out all kind of other crap. I don't care what your foul was, Mr. Side Judge. Really don't care if your flag is in a good position. Just really not interested in hearing that. Just give me the number.
What about if it's during the kick? Or during the return?
Still don't care. Honestly, literally don't care.
No.
All right.
Teammate will probably just take this first down.
Leaping the shield penalty is we don't need basic spot. We don't even need 3-and-1.
Nope.
We don't need any of that because in the penalty clause, the enforcement spot is
previous spot.
Basically said
and auto first
as previous spot.
Yeah.
Ooh, auto first. So 4th and 16 would turn into 1st and 10, huh?
That's correct.
That's right. Dang, you're good at that.
Very, very, very good. Announcement wise, we can get into these 2 foul situations and they can both be great calls, and then you flip the microphone on and you ruin all our credibility if you don't polish it up with a good announcement. So what's your framework to announce this?
Ooh, you put me on the spot. What's the number on the block in the back? I didn't see the number.
Probably
say
11.
22 or 11. Okay, I'm good with that. Oh, it's 24. There he is. It's 2 fouls on the play. Illegal block in the back, number 24, receiving team. That penalty is declined. Leaping the shield, number 3, defense, 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, automatic first down.
There you go.
That's pretty sporty.
Is leaping the shield a personal foul, or you just say leaping the shield when you give the personal foul signal?
I probably would say personal foul, leaping the shield. Did I not say that on this one just now?
You did not. That's okay.
Yeah, I would like to say personal foul. If I didn't say it, I would like to say personal foul. Now I got to go practice this announcement tonight.
Yep.
I would really like to say personal foul, leaping the shield.
And then the key there is that, just stylistically, you announce the declined penalty first.
Yes, because it helps to dismount the announcement better.
There you go. You wouldn't want to say there were 2 fouls on the play by the receiving team, personal foul, leaping the shield. During the return, illegal block in the back, that's declined. The leaping the shield is enforced. You get into a mess there.
Yes, it's all
so
messy.
Stylistically, discard the declined first, and then save the accepted. Even though sequentially, the leaping happened first.
Correct.
We don't always announce in the sequence they occurred, which can be kind of weird.
Yeah, it is. But and one other thing that I would do, Brandon, is normally I would announce the segment of the play for the one that we're declining, like the penalty to block in the back. Normally it would be during the return, illegal block in the back. But since we're declining it, I don't really care. I'm not going to even throw that during the return in there because it doesn't matter. I'm just going to say illegal block in the back. That penalty is declined. And then I also said defense for leaping the shield. I don't know why, but I feel like that's a defensive player. So I intentionally said it, but I don't know. I don't have a really good, strong reasoning for saying it. I just don't like leaping the shield on a receiving team. I just don't like that.
Yeah. You could say receiving team once up front, and then just say the fouls. And then
I know I don't do that though. I know you like to do.
I know
that.
you
I hate
don't.
doing that.
I know you.
Yeah.
I know you don't. But it's better, by the way.
It's not, but it's okay. It works for you.
It's
You don't got an umpire tell you how to announce your fouls.
umpire to umpire. All personal preference. All personal preference. Oh my gosh.
Talk about it.
So ironic. It's so ironic that you're an umpire now. That is
I'm not an umpire now. It's 5 simple games that I'm gonna work. Actually, 6 simple games that I'm gonna work, and I happen to be working the umpire position. I'm not an umpire.
We'll see. Okay. There you go. Oh, okay. So now let's go into hurdling. I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah. That's next week.
Yeah.
That's next week.
Come on. There it is. That is your annual leaping and leverage. It's like HR training. You got to check it off the box, baby.
Right.
That's pretty good.
That's
right
funny.
That's
We probably should do that every year around this time. Just call it the annual leaping and leverage training.
Policies and procedures in March. Football officiating, leaping and leverage. All right, man. There you go. Thanks for persevering. This was good.
It was intriguing. I guarantee you that.
It was intriguing. Take whatever you're drinking, I guess. There it is. We're pretty close to Phoenix camp, so
a little bit.
2 weeks, baby.
It's getting hot and heavy around here.
Hopefully, we have a lift in place.
Oh, we have lifts. Lifts, plural lifts.
We don't have credit history, so
why don't you work on your to-do list? That's true. We don't have credit. All right, everybody. Good night. If you have any questions about leaping and leverage, please don't contact me. But
nobody ever did. So,
right.
All right, man.
Daniel, this dude is still continuing the narrative all the way to the end of the
this
show.
whole thing up.
It's amazing.
It's incredible.
Good work. We rocked it. We
Nice.
rocked the HR session. All right. Good night.
Later, y'all.
Later.